Before we dive into this episode, I just want to let you know, if you want to get access to episodes before anybody else, head on over to patreon.com/concerts that made us. And as a bonus, you'll get access to videos of some of the episodes and a host of other benefits. We've also teamed up with Band Builder Academy to offer you 10% off their membership. Details of both can be found in the show notes below.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, Concerts That Made Us. Interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts, concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
This is Peter
and Huibert,
and you will listen to Concert That Made Us with Brian. Have fun, people, and support your local scene.
Peter and Huibert, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's great to have you guys now. I'm looking forward to diving into your music over the next bit. So you're releasing your new album, Ausdauer, on the 20th of October via Huibert Records and Spinda Records. What can you tell us about it?
Well, first, I must compliment you on the pronunciation of the German title. It was great.
Thank you.
Ausdauer is our third record. Ausdauer is also means like to hang on stuff, to be persistent. So that would also fit us as a band to have a third record. It's pretty nice. But also Ausdauer is also how we lived through the lockdown period. For us, it was a challenge to stay creative while culture was almost banned in the Netherlands. And we kept on jamming and then writing songs, making compositions out of jams. That's what we did.
Not a bad way to spend the lockdown.
That's correct.
And we're very happy to release it again on the Huibert Records or Huibert Recording. But we've met Berto from Spinda in Spain when we played the Tabernas Festival there, and he was very enthusiastic about seeing us playing as a band. So we kept in touch, and he also would like to release the third album.
Yeah, I was talking to him after the Tabernas Fest, and he said, "Man, since I saw your show, I've been unstoppable listening to your records. I love it."
It's exactly what you want to hear, huh?
Yeah.
I think so. It's a great compliment, and we got to know him, and he is a very hardworking professional in the music scene. I think Peter knows more about the Spinda labels, and
so I thought, let's check this label out, and he showed me some really, really nice Spanish bands, and I thought, wow, we really fit on the label.
Yeah. We don't have some Spanish roots. We're just
I think
Dutchies, but
I think it's pretty hard for the Spanish bands to reach Netherlands and Germany, for instance, because of France, I think.
Right. It's fairly uncommon though for a band to be releasing something through two record labels. I suppose it's kind of very handy for getting your music out to new territories and everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, the people you can reach is bigger, and I think for labels it is also attractive to do it because of all the high costs at the moment for the vinyl production. So the risk is more spread, and so I think it's great to do. I think both of the labels are happy, and we are happy because we are reaching more of people who love the heavy psych sounds.
Yeah, correct. We were already in love with Huibert Recordings and their bands. The various, how do you say it, stable of bands.
Yeah, they do have a great kind of roster of bands.
Roster,
that's the word. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. It's I don't know how they managed to find them, but especially in the kind of psych genre, they kind of have a great roster. It's if any listeners or if that's what they're into, they should definitely head over to Huibert Records.
Yeah, and she's a fine lady too.
Yeah.
So if you could get in touch with her, she's really fun to talk to. She's been around in the scene since the early 90s. So we have a venue in Nijmegen. We're from Nijmegen, the Netherlands, and we had a venue which is called Don Roosje. She was very active in Don Roosje in the early days, and from there she's seen all kind of bands, very loud bands in Don Roosje, and that's how she had her contacts. Yeah, in 30 years now. So, yeah, she had a great roster, and we're glad to be part of it.
I'd say so. So back to the album then. What was the recording process like for you guys?
For me, it was the most relaxed recording process ever. We had no stress. We had a lot of fun, and we recorded in one weekend. Yeah.
And our process is we rehearse some of our songs good before it, and then we try to take down the pace and really listen to it. What is everybody doing? And then when we feel good, we just hit record button, and yeah, we play all together at the same time, so there's no overdubs or no.
Yeah, we play live.
And yeah, and then it's also an experiment. How more relaxed you are, that's the better it's on the take, I think.
Yeah,
you agree, Peter?
I agree. So we had like 25 takes for 5 songs, and we also record in. I built a practice room next to my house where it's also a studio. So we played in our rehearsing environment, so we feel at home there.
It's a good idea, actually. And, when it comes to writing new music, then what does that look like for you guys? Is it totally collaborative, or do one of you guys come up with it and bring it to the rest?
We like to jam a lot, and then we listen back to those jam. And when you have a good jam, there are all kind of organic pieces which evolve into each other, and that's the basis of the song. And it's funny because if you getting back to practicing and try to play it again, it's like you're playing it all over again. So it's very natural, and I try to cut some of those jams, skip some of the noise and the talking parts, and then we just make it into some kind of song structure, but not like the song structure like the Beatles had, but more like yeah, just what sounds good and what fits.
Attention curve, like the build-up of organic build-up of a song or dynamics. Yeah, so Huibert tries to catch those moments from jams, and then we start composing around it, or
I like it.
As a collective.
Yeah. And I have to ask, my listeners enjoy hearing this now, but when it comes to making new music, the whole entire process from start to finish, what part do you guys enjoy most? What do you feel at home with?
That's easy.
Yeah. we enjoy the most the flow of connecting in improvisation.
Yeah, it's the part where you don't even think anymore, and just your hands making the music, and being like some sound machine together,
being one organism.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I think for those moments, everybody needs to be it's not necessary to be in a good mood, but it's better when you're not stressed out and just having a good time, and then it happens. And I've experienced some moments during jamming. You really feel like, oh, this is, what are we doing, man? Okay, this is great. This is something new. And then, then the process after that is more, I think some musicians will like it, like the guys who like to work in the studio with the computer and click, and, cleaning the parts. But I think for me, it's a less interesting part of making a record.
Yeah.
What is it for you, Peter?
For me, it's most interesting is to try to catch this flow moment in the composition, and then try if it works on stage, and then maybe improve it. Some parts a bit shorter, some parts a bit longer, to have this nice recap of a jam session.
Oh, I'm not surprised that's your favorite part. I'd imagine the way you said you have to be in a kind of good mood, but I'd imagine it's the type of situation where even if you're in a bad mood, you're having a terrible day, once you begin and you hit that moment, it's almost like a high. It puts you in a good mood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that is.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's really true. And I think it's also very special to have these kind of moments. You can have it with everybody. It's like you could have a very good conversation at a campfire with someone you really don't know. I think people experience those moments all the time. But I'm very happy after 7 years we're in this band. We're still able to connect. Um, on this musical level. That's I think that's also a reason why bands can stick together. And when there's when you're not able to do that anymore, yeah, it becomes harder to get the job done, I think.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how we work is when the guys come in and they are connecting their effect pedals. I start up the computer and I open a project, and then the guys are all installed. They everybody got earplugs. Okay, let's go. And I press record, and then we go. I learned from a German band, Canabineros. The way of working is called always press record.
It's a very important thing not to forget.
Yeah.
And I suppose at this stage, so we'll give the listeners a sense of where you come from musically. Now, it's a bit of a tricky one, but can you remember your earliest musical memory?
For me, I think I was was listening to probably Michael Jackson, the album Bad, with the bells and I had an older sister, and she was she is 2 years older, and she was musical more, into other things, and after that I think A Night at the Opera from Queen.
Oh, interesting.
My mother had this vinyl of this band, and the first parts where they had this song with all the harmonics, and so I think that those are the earliest musical things. Yeah, aside from playing the flute in the musical school, like Mieke, hou je vast, And for you, Peter?
For me, it was the record Elvis Live at Madison Square Garden.
Oh man,
Yeah,
going back a bit there.
and I was so impressed by the drums, and I can say it's still an influence. Elvis drummer, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes he just dances behind, sings Elvis songs behind kid drums, right?
Ronnie Todd, yeah, it's one of my favorite drummers. And after that, my dad had a bookshop, and there was a guy working. He said, "Oh, you like that? Well, I have a nice band. You should listen." And then he introduced me to old CZ Top on the record. I don't know how to pronounce it, Tejas or Tejas. And I was sold. That groove was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what sparked the desire in you guys to become musicians? What moment can you pick that defined it?
Now, my mother or my parents really encouraged me to play music. There was some kind of what's the word? We had to do it at home. So she told me to play the saxophone, and I told her, why should I play the saxophone? Yeah, so you won't complain while you're playing. You're not able to complain. And I did it for 6 years, and afterwards I met a friend of mine. He played guitar, and he told me, okay, we should start a band. Maybe you should play the bass. So I bought a bass for my 14th birthday. And then you start being in the band and all kind of experience and having a good time together. But I know I saw like a video of Pinkpop, a big Dutch festival, and Pearl Jam was playing there during their binaural tour. I think it's 2000. I saw them playing, and then I had some kind of brush go through me, like, oh my God, how must it be to be on a big stage and performing and doing this for a big part of your life? And for me, that's one of the sparkles why I started being in a band, and it keep coming back. And then all things around me, because you could be in a band. I'm in a band for like 7 years in this band and 5 years before, and then, but during the time, all the other things came by. I also experimented with. So Peter and I were in a small, what's the word? Stichting? Collective, pure for promoting local music. And we made like a small paper. We started to make parties.
I organized a bowling contest with bands playing on the track.
Huh? Yeah, the bowling, the Nijmegen Rock City Bowling Festival, and so it started with being just a musician and playing the bass, and now it's more of, I couldn't think of doing anything else because it's so important for me. So it's a long answer, but it's it's. And we in our the back title of the album, we also say we like to thank the Immer, the always enduring underground in the Netherlands, but also in Germany, also in Belgium, of people who are willing to make a step for another one, just for the music.
The DIY scene,
yeah.
Volunteers and people that do it for love, for music. Yeah.
But Peter, how did you get into music?
Well, I thought about it now. I can remember when I was a kid, I was at the bronze wedding of an uncle and an aunt, and that was the first time I saw live drumming, and it really got to me. I was fascinated by the sound of drums and groove. And then one time I was at my grandmother's talking about that, and she said, "No, I think I have a snare drum on the attic." So I found one plastic snare drum from the 60s, and I started with that one and pots and pans. And my parents thought it's maybe a bit too loud to give them a drum, so I had to prove myself to be motivated, and then I got a drum set.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it. All great drummers start out on pots and pans, so I've heard.
Yeah.
And your local music scene then, growing up, what was it like, and how does it compare today? How has it evolved?
Well, I grew up in the Achterhoek, which is a part of the Netherlands. Peter calls it the Hinterecker, which is German for the
back corner.
The back corner. And there wasn't really a lot of live music. So there was a small bar called Schiller, and sometimes there was QB and the Blizzards, or Herman Brood, or the band before, a Dutch famous band, De Staat, played there. So, but there wasn't really a lot of music. And then I went to Nijmegen for studying, and there was a bigger scene. I think 10 years ago, I think maybe 15 years ago now, there was a really Dutch wave of Nijmegen bands.
It was a vivid scene back then.
Yeah. Many bands from Nijmegen were doing really well. A bit between the indie and the more heavy stuff, stoner stuff.
Southern rock too.
Southern rock also.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think we both have kids, so that gives another attention in your life, so we lost kind of track of the big scene in Nijmegen. I think it's less.
It's more indie garage now, I think.
Yeah. And also vocal and electronics, you know. But still, there is still a scene, but it's different from then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. And I love hearing about this now. As a concert goer, what concerts have made you guys?
My first big concert was Metallica 1988.
Oh, man.
And my second concert was Slayer.
I can see a pattern forming.
Yeah. Yeah. I come from a Christian town, and I was one of the few thrash metal guys over there.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's a hard question, man. Which shows that you see, which really, we saw, but it was not so long time ago. But I think 5 months ago we saw Hedwig Mollestad Trio in Nijmegen. It's a Norwegian band. There's some jazz proggy musicians, and then I was really impressed by the fun they had during playing very complex compositions, and there are people, they're in the same age of us, so it really got me inspired again. But also some bands, yeah, I think it's hard for me to remember which. I think there's always something to see in a show which can inspire you.
Yeah, I found Mastodon live in the early days very impressive.
Yeah.
And one day, the first time I saw them, they took a support, was Dozer, and that was great too. And for me, one night was Brand Björk and the Bros. Like a long time ago. It was very good. It was a magic evening.
Yeah.
And last year I saw the Fearless Flyers. That's more instrumental funk with Nate Smith on drums. That was amazing. I've been smiling all the time.
And when it comes to concerts, then attending concerts, what do you look for? What needs to happen for you to walk away that night thinking, I'm going to remember that show for a very long time?
Yeah, I like it when musicians connect together and you can see they have fun. I like it when they make mistakes and don't care and they continue playing excellent. And of course, the people you hang around with are important, and of course, the sound and the lights. But the best I like is that I start a show with expectations that I will be topped and I'm taking on a journey. And I wake up after the show and say, whoa, what was this?
But what I really like is to see some band you don't really know, and then really, yeah, like some of these shows are really incredible. I think a year ago there was the band called El Perro.
Oh yeah,
which is around Parker Griggs from Radio Moscow. I think it was the start of their tour. They didn't do as many shows. It was a very hot evening, and they started playing, and the sweat was dripping down from the ceilings, and everybody was in a good flow. So it's sometimes also, yeah, to see musicians having a good time and really connect. I think that's, or just throwing everything they have.
Yeah. This flow thing we were talking about? When the flow happens on stage and they can give it to the audience in the interaction.
Yeah. I feel like when that happens on stage, it's much more than a concert. It becomes more of an experience for everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
So I for a long time I organized concerts in Nijmegen in a small basement for maximum 90 people. And Huibert makes psychedelic visuals with that, and we invite bands that want to come for a door deal and a dinner and a place to sleep. And sometimes there come bands you don't expect anything, and they blow you away, and I love that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, always that little surprise. It's one of the best parts. And probably the most important question of the whole show now. For any listeners that haven't caught one of your shows, what can they expect? Lay out the whole experience for them if you can.
Okay.
We try to build an organic set list. where we can find this previous mentioned flow. And we start the show and we try to connect to each other and then connect with the audience.
Give a lot of energy.
And I try to groove like a motherfucker all the time. And we build up the tension parts, and I love it when it works, that we take the time to build it up, and there we go. No, we don't go. There we go. Don't do, and bam, there we go. And people are blown away. That's a great part too.
Yeah, I think people experience that a lot, and then try to make some variations in what you are playing. So we like to have the basis of our music is steady and sometimes the same, but over that is a lot of improvisation, where the tension building is, and then it's like hitting the brakes and going into reverse, and then we take I think that's.
People sometimes tell me that like they were taking on a journey, and that's great.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And out of all the gigs that you guys have played, is there one that sticks in your mind as maybe the most perfect experience you've had on stage?
Yeah, I have the one. That was on the Duna Jam on the beach of Sardinia. I'm a Duna Jammer, so I come for a long time over there. It's a kind of a secret fest on the island Sardinia, and I'm a regular visitor. And it was my dream to play there, and we were invited to play there 2 years ago on the beach, on beautiful surroundings. And we had luck; we could play one show before the show over there.
Yeah.
So we got the set list all dusted off. And I took my wife and my daughter and all the friends over there, and we nailed it. It was one big flow, and I had really goosebumps after that.
It was the first night after 2 years of no festival there because of the Corona lockdown.
Yeah,
and people were really enthusiastic and also a bit tensed because of will it be the same. And we were there for 2 days already, so it was very, very relaxed to be there. And then we saw two bands before us play, and then the guy from Color Haze was the sound guy. He really helped us out, setting up the good sound, and we played it for over like 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and people were just very happy, screaming, applauding, screaming for more. I think that's and it's also nice that it works out all the things you hope for. You want to play a good show, and then it's even you're topping yourself. Like it's even better than you expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say though, once you get an experience like that, how do you keep going? Like, it must feel like, oh man, it can't possibly get any better than this. I've reached the top. I'll retire.
I told the guys after playing Duna Jam, I said, guys, this was my career. The rest is bonus.
And, I always say you have to have some good with some bad. So you can use any gig from your entire career, even with other bands. But is there a gig experience you would consider the worst, and how did you deal with it?
I used to play in a punk rock band, Bambix. We did a lot of shows, like 100 a year. One moment we were on a German open air festival, and it was raining a lot. And there was one dry place. That was the cocktail bar. And our driver convinced me to have just one White Russian. And that became more and more. And after that, I couldn't play drums anymore. My feet refused to play. That was my worst show ever.
Right.
I cannot top this story. It's such a good story. I think with Bismut, we I think we didn't do any bad shows. You always score like a 6 or a 7. Sometimes something breaks, it will work out. I think before I had a band called Geyser, and we played for in a small venue in where all volunteers did the cooking and made it really like a good starting for the night, and there were no visitors, so we played for an empty room, which was really I really thought, okay, this isn't how it should be, and afterwards a lot of those funds for small venues were stopped. So the Dutch government had like stopped all those funding, and a lot of those cool plays with volunteers just closed. And I think that's not a personal experience for me. Like a bad show, you could play for a venue of 5 to 10 people. You see it more like an open rehearsal, but I think the effect of no one showing up is hard for all the good. What's the word? Inspanning, the word. What they do, everybody puts their hearts into it, and then it doesn't get answered.
Yeah,
It's kind of sad.
It is. And when it comes to showtime, then just before you guys go on stage, do you have any rituals? How do you psych yourself up? And then after the show, how do you wind down?
I have like building up the drums ritual during the bands that plays before us, and that kind of get me already focused. Yeah, that's important. And I learned from that show with the White Russians not to drink too much before the show. Yeah, we kind of hang around together.
Yeah, we always drive in the Volvo. We have a Volvo V70, which is a station car, and with the three of us in a half backline, it just fits. We always drive together. Yeah. It's also like a kind of ritual. There's most of the time there's no one else. And sometimes we meet people from the scene at the venue, and then you just build up, and we write down the set list on our hands.
That's only Nick.
Yeah, that's only Nick.
The guitarist. Yeah. We know the set list.
Every song has like a number, so we make like a phone number. Yeah, and we just start playing. I will lift my Ampeg 30 kilos up the cabinet. I think that a good preparation is if you put everything next to the stage or in the backstage ready to go. While we're doing it, we get focused. Yeah.
Right. And say those massive perfect gigs. On a Saturday night, you play the most perfect gig. You wake up Sunday morning, it's kind of back to reality. How do you deal with those feelings?
Well, the Monday is even harder. I think the day after, I'm still on the clouds. Yeah, enjoying and talking about experience or conversation or jokes or other bands we've seen or feedback of other people.
Yeah, reflect on the show. Yeah, it was well, and then it's like getting off the cloud. I have 3 children, so they need attention too. But sometimes it rings. It my head is still with the band, but I need to focus, and it works out. But for me, what I really like is being in the clouds and using that feeling to create something else. Like something to paint something in your house, or I'm also editing some film stuff, and put that energy there. It's like I think it helps to make it into something.
Yeah. I just go grumpy at work on Mondays.
That works too.
That works too. But all the time, I bless myself to be able to have this experience. Because I played many bands before, but this one I liked the most.
How do you guys balance your personal lives with the demands of being in a band? I know you said you both have kids.
Yeah, that means good long-time planning. and regular bring flowers at home.
Yeah, also not only flowers, eh?
But my wife likes to have a happy husband, and my child too have a happy father. So they know it is part of my life, and I would die if I wouldn't do it. So there is a lot possible. But when my wife says, when I say, "Oh, we can play a show over there," she says, "No, no, no. I need you at home." Then it's clear. Then I stay at home. But she hardly says this.
Yeah, and for me, I talk with my kids about doing something you like, and I often say to my oldest one, "You only have like one life." That's what I believe, and you should do something that inspires you or what gives you a great feeling, and that's also something kids can relate to. And
that's nice,
it's like
Albert, yeah.
fall in love and just don't fall in line, and stick to it.
Yeah, we have kind of we are not the touring band like go on the road for a month or something. We like to, for us it's all realizable with doing weekenders and a maximum of like 20 shows a year.
I see. And this one is a bit of an interesting one now. I'm sure it rarely happens, but how do you guys handle criticism or negative feedback about your music?
I think
it really pissed me off.
Yeah.
I try to find where the guy lives, and then yeah, we make music for a niche, so I understand completely if people don't like it because it's musicians' music. So, but yeah.
So if you don't like it, that's good also. I don't like some music.
Yeah. I like negative or critical feedback when it's with arguments. So I can read it, think about it, and maybe I can learn from it.
Yeah, when it's like that, it's not too bad when it's constructive, something you can take in your stride and be like, right, where can I improve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last 2 weekends ago, we played in Germany, 2 shows. And we talked with the bass player of Rotor, which is a great German band. And Rotor they make these compositions, and they do like a little short riff, and then they hold back for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then you get smacked in the face by everybody in the band, So the bass player, he said to us, "Why don't you do this small rotor trick in his own ways?" He said, like,
we asked him for critical feedback. That's what he told us. Maybe do a bit more less,
and play more with the energy. And sometimes you can do it also with a little less notes. So and that was also inspiring to think about it. The album Ausdauer, it will be there in 1 month, and our creative process will start in a few weeks, building up to the next album. Just like jamming and composing, and then it's also good to think about this feedback. I think you don't have to be like Roto, but I think all musicians experience like the same process in writing or in making music.
Yeah, definitely. And when you think of the future, how would you guys like to evolve as a band? What would it be like, say, in 5 years' time?
Yeah, then it would be nice to be a little bit like the Hedwig Mollestad trio.
maybe a bit more jazz in it, but yeah. But I think the nicest thing would be still being together and having a good time. That would be great. Just having music, and still finding a balance between professional life and just having fun, being a musician. And I think for me it would be, I like it to talk about the music you want to make out of the jams you're producing. So I'm really a crowd fan, a German krautrock. I really like it. So maybe we could have a bit more crowd in the set list, or after we've seen Hedwig Molstad, we thought, okay, it would be nice to have a bit more jazz in it, or
Yeah.
So. Yeah. How's it for you, Peter? What do you think? Where do
Yeah,
you
well,
think
I'm as curious as you. What will happen? I think. Yeah,
I hope we're still in good health.
yeah. For the coming future, there's always a few festivals I would like to play, and yeah, maybe some of them will happen.
Is there a good venue in your neighborhood?
Uh, there's a couple of small venues. Yeah, there's not many festivals that are targeted towards kind of rock or sort of guitar music, band music. It's mostly pop and stuff like that over here.
Okay.
But there is a few smaller venues in Dublin, in the capital city, that would be
Okay.
perfect for you guys to play in. So you should make your way over here and play a few small, nice gigs.
Yes, we should.
I like the small gigs, man. I prefer small sweaty rooms
I prefer it
Right.
with
too.
a max of 200 people to really rock the house.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice. And before we get into the last couple of questions, then, I know the album is coming out in October. Is there anything else set in stone? Any gigs? Anything you want to tell us about?
Well, what I think is very funny is that the guy from Doornroosje, this is the main club in Nijmegen. I told him last year, so yeah, we would like to release in Doornroosje, but maybe we're too small to fill it completely. So we like to play with the bigger bands, maybe like Dope Lord. And he listened. We will release as support of Dope Lord
Right.
from Poland. Yeah, it's
Nice.
amazing. Yeah,
And when is that happening?
the 21st of October.
Nice. Nice.
And also Acid Rooster from Leipzig. I like very much.
We'll play also.
It will be an interesting evening.
I was just going to say, it sounds like it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and like we have like 3 shows in October and 3 shows in November and some to come in December. And I'm booking for the next year. Didn't catch anything, but I probably will catch some shows with the new release.
Exactly. Exactly. Right, we'll dive into the last few questions. So these are a couple of random odd ones, but I'm intrigued to see your answers. So if you could see any performer from history in concert for one night only, who would it be?
Elvis Presley with Ronnie Todd on drums.
I was expecting that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe Nina Simone. I like some forgotten jazz artists, really.
That would be nice, actually.
Yeah, it's not the kind of rock artist. Yeah, I could think of Kurt Cobain, but he really wouldn't enjoy it. Kurt, I think you better stay that.
Yeah, or the early Calm to Burn. I would love to see again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next one, so it's a bit of a weird one, but if you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any musician from history, who would it be?
Oh,
Any musician from history.
could he be alive or she?
Hopefully they'd be alive when they're in the room anyway.
Yeah, I would go for Nate Smith.
Right.
I think Miles Davis.
Oh.
I would love to talk to him about what he thinks, if he even thinks while playing the trumpet. You know?
Yeah. Be an interesting 24 hours.
Yeah.
And the final one, so I'm afraid I've been told this is near impossible to answer, but we'll give it a go. What song would appear on the soundtrack to your life?
That's a hard one. Hard question. Yeah.
Changes by Black Sabbath.
Right. What is it about that one that speaks to you?
Well, the temporary time we have and the living in the moment. And it will change.
Great.
Very good.
Great answer. I can't top that, so skip this one.
Okay.
Isn't there a
Okay.
grunge song for you?
A
Harold?
grunge song? No, I really don't like it now. Yeah, I really was into grunge, but no, nowadays I would say no. We'll give some of these stupid answers. So we'll leave it there with the Peter had a great answer.
Right. 1 out of 2 isn't bad.
Yeah.
Right, guys, listen, I've really enjoyed chatting with you now. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks a million.
Thanks,
You're
Brian.
welcome, man. We really enjoyed it also.
I hope
it
we'll
would be
meet
nice.
us in a small sweaty bar in
In
Ireland.
Dublin.
In
Yes,
Dublin,
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
You bring the music and I'll bring the sweat.
Yeah, that's good.
And the pines.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up to Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking. Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here.